Hello everyone! For me this year was just crazy, beautiful, full of adventures, and now I will tell you about one of them, my first trip to America. This summer I attended a big economic convention named FEEcon, and if you just thought, oh, now this boring nerdy speech will begin, don't rush to switch the channel, because here I will also give you some super inspiring thoughts and practical advices. How I got a visa, how I made this huge trip from Ukraine to United States for 6 days, and also how can you use my experience and travel to US from your country to get some new exciting knowledges. So if you're interested, put your thumb up and keep watching this video. Here is how it all happened. Shortly after New Year's in January 2019, I got a call. It was my former party colleague Pavlo. And since 2017, when this big scandal with my exit from my political party began, almost everyone was against me, supporting our leaders, manipulations, and Pavlo wrote something nasty to me too, but then he apologized. Anyway, I wasn't expected a call from him at all, even more so cooperation. But at this call, he personally told me about the possibility of attending this conference at the invitation from FEE, Foundation for Economic Education. I didn't know anything about them, but I immediately interested. I am very thankful to this guy. I'm sending all my best wishes to him and his family because this trip changed almost everything in my life. You see this print on my t-shirt? Set your path and change the world. It was a FEEcon 2019 motto, and it worked. So then in January, on Pavlo's recommendation, I contacted the organizers and they confirmed my invitation. And the conference was planned for summer, middle of June, and I had a lot of time to prepare, to apply for visa, to collect all the information, to buy tickets. The most important thing, how I could afford such a trip at all. That is, large part of the expenses were paid by the FEE. And I honestly didn't even knew that is possible. Just imagine, FEE working to spread the ideas for liberty, and then they throw in an event for a progressive youth. Of course, they think deserve this experience, inviting them from all over the world and paying for their tickets. In my case, it was more than $1,000. Although you, like everybody else, should buy a ticket to an event, book a hotel, plane tickets first. They will reimburse you, but only after the event, of course. Meanwhile, I was running my campaign. I was running for the parliament, working on my district as an independent candidate. And then in May, our new president, Volodymyr Zelensky, announces early elections. So I questioned a whole trip back then. How can I go to America for 6 days in June when we have elections in July? But after some serious doubts, I made a decision. I am going. So I got my visa quickly, only a week before departure. And as I understood from the questions from the embassy, they gave me visa only because I was candidate. I assessed myself adequately, knowing that I have no real estate, no eminent bank accounts, etc. I took everything I could, my promotional flyers, my newspapers, and that was it. I got my visa in 3 minutes. After 3 minutes of speaking with the officer, and as my friends told me after, it was kind of magic. According to the last year's statistic of the US State Department, it was more than 40% denial for applicants in Ukrainian embassy. Immediately after arriving in the beautiful Atlanta, that in the state of Georgia, I realized I made a best decision in the whole world. Everything was 1,000 times better than I imagined. Guests, speakers, atmosphere. I was jealous to myself, actually. The organization was in such a big level with such a love and aesthetics and taste, so I can speak about it, only about it, for hours. From the morning to the evening, I spent all the time at the lectures and panel discussions, and they were all about freedom and how people struggle for it. So I felt completely in my dish. We were all the same fruits there. And just imagine, for this 3-day event, they created an app where all the guests and the speakers could communicate and find all the information they need for the conference, and also find each other in social networks later, for example. Each speaker on the big stage did like a TED Talks format, and after this we listened to the lectures on narrowed topics, read simultaneously on 5 different stages. It was like little conference room where all the guests could go and listen according to their interest. It was very difficult for me to choose, so I wanted to listen to everything. Therefore, through the app, I decided to look at these lectures that were recorded, and I chose to go to those lectures that were not recorded, not to miss anything. So as you understand, I was a nerdy nerd at the university. Just look at some names of lectures. Why Young Socialists Don't Love Us, But They Should, by Stephen Hicks. Claire Kittle-Dixon's talk about building a career that advances liberty. Yaron Brook was speaking about changing the world through Ayn Rand philosophy and capitalism, of course. But not only those, all of them was very memorable. And for example, on the National Geographic photographer Dewey Jones' lecture named How to Make Our Life More Joy and Less Struggle, I almost cried. I'm sure everybody was very emotional at this moment. I think the key secret of America's success is that the best people in the world are living and creating here. And I came here to meet them. The inspiration I got here cannot be described with words. It was in the air, everywhere. Even a place where conference was held was a masterpiece. Guess what? It was a Marriott hotel. One of the highest atriums in the world. Looks like a spaceship or a modern Hogwarts from the inside. Those who followed my social media pages maybe saw I posted a lot of pictures and videos, even from panel discussions there in my story. I felt like each of them was written specifically for me, and at the time I needed it. Every topic, political, economical, about entrepreneurship, creativity, ideology, there were best speakers in the areas from all over the world at the conference. And what a unique journey each person went through before getting on stage, and how brilliantly she delivered her knowledges and experience to the audience during speech. One of my main discoveries is how many libertarians are in our world. And I spoke with a lot of people from all over the world, from every corner, and what we consider unique problems for our countries, crushing our heads how to solve it for so long, turns out has been described, discussed by greatest people, greatest minds hundreds years ago. The fight for freedom is the same everywhere. We are not alone. Socialism is flourishing, bureaucracy is very strong, not only in Ukraine. And our opponents of individual and economical freedom are becoming more tricky in their arguments day by day. The biggest challenge for all of us is to be one step ahead and counter their propaganda, not to let them change the concepts and rewrite history. During the conference, I saw hundreds of organizations that are spreading libertarian ideas for all over the world. For example, FEE, Foundation for Economic Education, has been around for more than 70 years. At this photo, I'm standing next to its President Emeritus, legendary Lawrence Reed, who once had lunch discussing libertarianism with Margaret Thatcher when she was the guest for 50th FEE anniversary. I'm just shocked what connections and opportunities life opens to you when you don't even dream about it. I have one picture in my room. It's Thatcher's portrait for many years now. And Lawrence Reed, who shook hands with her, gave political advice how to fight for liberty to me. You can imagine what it meant to me. And I asked him to sign a book for me, Real Heroes. A great book. Recommend it to everyone. The most important goal was not even to listen to these prominent personalities live, but to establish an international connections. For more than 5 years now, I'm conducting a libertarian ideas in Ukraine. I do everything I can to spread these ideas, and I'm running my campaigns. It is time to go to higher level. Next time I want to come to FEEcon with my team to tell the world about us, libertarians of Ukraine. To all who follow me, I called to start studying more. Go to fee.org website and read about their activities. Write in the comments if you would like to make steps in this direction too, and to make such a great trip in the future. I'm telling you this to just show you guys everything is possible. It changes in our countries and in the world. Even especially when it's dark around you, you need to become a ray of light. And if you want to discover even more organizations, here is one of the speakers I mentioned before, Claire Dixon presentation slides. Look at all the names. The world needs us, intelligent, educated people, and our activity as libertarian leaders is growing every day. And of course, how can you go to America without flying through New York? I planned the whole trip with a transfer in New York to visit this dream city on my way home. To sum up how much it cost to me, the whole trip, it turns out a little more than 2.5 thousand. Visa, hotels, taxi, food. I stayed in New York for 2 days. Of course, this is a very small amount of time to see something, but even if you have 1 hour here, it will be worth it, believe me. Just climb the Empire State Building at sunset. Marvelous. Shortly after I came to US with my touristic visa for the second time, I truly embraced the greatness of this country. You know what I did? I went to a Trump rally. Yes, it was fantastic, and if you live here or you're traveling here now and you've never been at 45th President rally, you don't know anything about this country at all. Just go, you will thank me later. We live in a super interesting era now. After this trip, I started a YouTube channel to speak more about Ukraine in the context of economical and political news. And the more I learned about it, I'm convinced that fighting for freedom is nothing but a lifestyle. And libertarianism is common sense in all ways. I've also met one very special person here, and I will tell you about it, but a little later. See you soon!